Peter Navarro and Elon Musk remind you of Abraham Lincoln.
Well, yeah, but
this tariff rollout has been so dysfunctional.
Best spokesman for the administration, Bessent, the Treasury Secretary.
I don't know that everybody would agree with you on that.
We've got another insane CNN panel to jump into where some rather off-the-wall things were said by the MAGA members, of whom I have to correct. Of course, I'm here to do that. So leave us a like on the video if you can. I really appreciate it. It helps us out tremendously, much more than you could imagine. And let's hop right into the video otherwise.
Trump, you know, when you watch that little infighting that's going on, it reminds me of Abraham Lincoln and his team of rivals. He had people at the table who...
Peter Navarro and Elon Musk remind you of Abraham Lincoln.
Well, yeah, but
okay.
Elon Musk is probably the greatest...
I must defend Abraham Lincoln on this.
He's the greatest entrepreneur in world history. But I'm going to side on this one with Elon Musk. I mean, Elon Musk is right that, you know, tariffs are taxes. They can hurt the economy. We've got to have the most productive sector of the economy. But it's also true that, you know, Peter Navarro figuratively took a bullet for Donald Trump. He went to jail for Donald Trump. And that's an amazing act of heroism, in my opinion, to do that rather than rat on what, you know, the president said in secret meetings. So
a heroic act for putting Trump above your country. Like, do you see what these MAGA clowns consider to be noble? This is sickening. Peter Navarro, by the way, helped Trump with pressuring state officials to find votes that they both knew didn't exist in 2020. Trump's then fraudulent elector scheme that he then sent a mob to the Capitol to try to pressure Mike Pence to go along with. And then he refused to turn over documents related to this when subpoenaed by Congress. But a hero, right, guys? He only helped aid the biggest attempt to steal an election this country has ever seen. Also, I'm going to puke in my mouth if we keep comparing Trump and Elon to historical figures. The only thing they have in common with Lincoln is that they would also own slaves if they were allowed.
Look, I think the only person that can get away with this kind of infighting, public infighting like this, is Elon Musk. I can't imagine Donald Trump and the White House being okay with Pete Hegseth and Marco Rubio lobbying insults the way that these two have been doing all day. And it contributes to the lack of consumer confidence. It contributes to the confusion. It contributes to the conflicting messaging. But at the end of the day, Peter Navarro is espousing the positions that Donald Trump holds. Donald Trump has been talking about tariffs for 30 plus years. And so in a way, it's almost Elon Musk insulting Peter Navarro, because he can't insult,
that's a very good point.
Dumber than a bag of bricks.
The other person, Sheila,
and then I apologize for the bricks,
who is getting caught in some of the crosshairs here is Howard Lutnick.
It speaks to who really wears the pants in the relationship, right? Where Elon Musk, largely because he gave Trump $250 million to own him in this campaign, can now stay in the White House as an unelected bureaucrat, unchecked bureaucrat, even when the cabinet is growing tired of him, even when he's mainly unpopular among the American people. And he's allowed to do stuff like drop slurs and engage in public argument while using slurs, calling the person he's arguing with slurs on X. And there's no repercussion for this. I mean, I think it's disgusting that we've even come to a place in America where it's normalized, where the right-hand man to the president is saying the R slur on the social media platform that he owns. And I mean, the right is just so fine with ableism, racism, and white supremacy and more among their ranks, all for delusional, selfish reasons. And these people are just destroying our country right before our eyes.
I think these little schoolyard fights give us insight into why the Trump administration, and particularly this tariff rollout, has been so dysfunctional, because he has these very different factions advising him, and they're completely at odds with one another. You have Elon Musk and the techno-capitalists who have this, free trade fantasy, small government, and then you have Navarro, who's a protectionist and has this almost medieval view of a global economy. And those are the two messages being fed into the president, and that's why we are seeing this whipsaw.
The one name we haven't even mentioned at the table is the best spokesman for the administration. Bessent, the Treasury Secretary.
I don't
And it
know. I
strikes
don't know that
me-
everybody would agree with you on that.
I think-
And
I
he
think
had an
Elon Musk was,
incredibly
I mean,
rough Friday, especially.
Oh, I think.
I mean, DEI has never been so vindicated. Biden's DEI cabinet never had any public bickering like this, never had any incompetence like leaking classified battle plans, no chaotic rollouts like the tariff nonsense. And now from Scott Jennings himself, you mean to tell me the only competent member of Trump's cabinet is the LGBTQ one? You can't write this stuff. It turns out when a straight rich white guy hires a bunch of straight rich white people, you get dog shit results. And when the old white guy decides to diversify his choices to better represent how America actually looks, you get great results, much better results by comparison. I mean, the real life case study for DEI has now been completed before our eyes, and it's a first round knockout win for DEI. Goodbye, woke one. Trump's cabinet of rich white thumbs couldn't even make it 2 months without doing the thing that they chanted, lock her up for Hillary over, but doing it 10 times worse than she did at that.